I worked at a mid-sized amusement park called Larkridge Springs the summer after I graduated high school. It wasn't a glamorous job, but it paid well enough and let me stay close to home. My tasks varied from day to day, helping at concessions, cleaning up messes, occasionally operating rides, but my main station was near the parade prep area, deep in the back corridors of the park. Larkridge had a daily mascot parade around 4 p.m., where 5 or 6 people in cartoonish animal suits danced along the main path. Kids loved it. Adults tolerated it. The characters weren't famous, just original park mascots like Larry the lemur, Benny the beaver, and my least favorite, Huggy the bear. Huggy always creeped me out. Its eyes were slightly uneven, the fur too matted, and the grin too wide. The mascot room, where all the costumes were stored, was a long, windowless hallway sealed with a keypad lock. Only employees with parade clearance had the code. I wasn't officially cleared, but one of the performers, Cassie, had shown me the code on my first week. She said if I ever needed to retrieve something for her, I could go in. The room smelled of stale sweat and foam rubber. Suits hung on racks, headpieces placed carefully on shelves. Some were in better condition than others, depending on how often they were used. Huggy's suit, being the main attraction, had several backups, but there was one in particular that no one ever touched. It hung at the very end of the row, shrouded by a semi-transparent plastic cover. I noticed it my second week. It looked like an earlier version of Huggy, same tan fur and wide grin, but older, faded, almost burned in some areas. The eyes were completely blacked out, not just uneven. I assumed it was a retired version and didn't give it much thought until I started seeing it moved. At first, I thought maybe someone was cleaning or reorganizing. I'd walk by the mascot room while taking out trash and notice the plastic drape slightly open. Other times, the old Huggy suit seemed to have shifted position closer to the door, or turned slightly as if someone had examined it and left it like that. One afternoon, Cassie looked shaken before the parade. "Did you go into the mascot room this morning?" she asked me, eyes darting. I shook my head. "No. Why?" She hesitated. The old Huggy suit was out, just standing in the middle of the room, like someone had moved it there deliberately. "I thought it was you." I felt a chill, but laughed it off. "Probably Rick messing around. You know he likes creeping people out." Cassie didn't smile. "Rick doesn't have the code." The next day, I peeked into the mascot room on my way to clock out. Everything seemed normal. The suits were in place. The room was dim, the overhead fluorescent light buzzing faintly. But the plastic sheet covering the old Huggy suit fluttered slightly. No windows, no vents nearby. Something about it made my stomach twist. I closed the door and told myself it was just bad airflow or my imagination. That weekend, I was asked to help prep the mascots for the parade. Cassie was running late, so I went in early to get the suits ready. As I stepped into the mascot room, I froze. The old Huggy suit wasn't on the rack. It was gone. My first instinct was to check the rest of the room. Maybe someone had moved it for cleaning, or it was finally being retired officially. I looked everywhere, in the maintenance closets, under tables, even behind racks. Nothing. Then I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, padded like someone wearing heavy rubber-soled shoes, coming from the hallway outside. I stepped out, expecting to see Rick or Cassie. No one was there. The hallway was silent. I walked around the bend, past the storage lockers, toward the exit. Still no one. But when I returned to the mascot room, the suit was back. Exactly where it had been. Only now, the head was tilted slightly, looking toward the door. I didn't tell anyone. I should have. I tried to convince myself I just missed it, that I'd overlooked it in the room earlier. But I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, even outside the room. Over the next few days, I caught glimpses of something tan and furry in the periphery of my vision. Once, near the kiddie coaster. Another time, behind the concessions shack. Always just out of focus. Always gone when I turned. Cassie quit the next week. No notice. Just stopped showing up. When I asked around, someone said she'd had a panic attack and walked out mid-shift. No one knew more. With Cassie gone, I was asked to step in for a parade. Just once, they said. Just wear the Huggy suit and wave at kids. Easy. They gave me the main Huggy suit, not the old one, of course. But as I dressed in the prep area, I noticed something off. The suit smelled different. Not like sweat or disinfectant, something earthier, musty, like it had been underground. I checked the label. It was the old suit. I tore it off and ran to the mascot room. The plastic-covered suit was gone. Again, I told the supervisor something was wrong. He looked annoyed, said the suits got mixed up sometimes, not to worry. I refused to go out. Someone else filled in. That night, I stayed late, determined to catch whoever was behind it. I hid in a supply closet near the mascot room, crack slightly open. Around 10:30 p.m., the lights flickered. I heard the mascot room door click open, and something stepped out. Not someone. Something. It was Huggy. Not a person in the suit. The suit itself, walking stiffly, head twitching, arms swaying unnaturally. It moved down the hallway slowly, stopping every few steps, as if listening. I held my breath, heart pounding. It passed my closet, paused briefly, then kept walking. I waited until it disappeared around the corner. Then I ran. Out of the closet, out of the building, out of the park. The next morning, I handed in my badge. I didn't explain. I didn't need to. A month later, I heard a rumor. A security guard had gone missing during a night shift. No investigation, no news reports, just silence. Sometimes I dream of the hallway, of Huggy standing at the end of it. Not moving, just watching. I wake up drenched in sweat, heart racing. I haven't been back to Larkridge Springs since, but every now and then I check online. The park is still open, still does daily parades, still uses Huggy the bear. I worked the front gate at Redfield Amusement Park for 4 summers in a row. It wasn't the most exciting job, scanning tickets, stamping wrists, giving directions, but it was stable, and it kept me outside. The park wasn't huge, but it had history. Opened in 1966, it was full of winding paths, faded signage, and a mix of vintage and modern rides. The kind of place that looked harmless at a glance, but something about it always felt a little stuck in time. Most days were routine. People came, had fun, left with sunburns and overpriced souvenirs. But one afternoon, during my 3rd summer, something happened that never left me. It was late July, a slow weekday. I stood at the main gate with a portable scanner, half watching the trickle of guests coming through. That's when I noticed her. A girl, maybe 10 or 11, pale, thin, hair tied in 2 tight braids. She wore an old-fashioned dress white with a faint blue trim that looked handmade. Out of place, but some families dress their kids like that. She stepped past the gate without scanning a ticket. I noticed immediately. "Excuse me," I called. "I need to scan your ticket." She didn't stop, just walked right in. I jogged after her, lightly tapping her shoulder. "Hey, you need a wristband." She turned. Her eyes were wide and gray, unfocused. She looked up at me without saying a word. I repeated myself, softer. "Do you have a ticket?" Still silent. A woman approached from the line. Clearly, her mother, or so I thought. "She's not with me," the woman said, frowning. I thought she was part of the entrance show or something. We both looked at the girl. She was already walking again, heading toward the central fountain. I reported it to security, assuming we'd have a lost child situation. They checked the entrance, logs, no sign of her. No ticket. No camera footage of her walking through the gate. Weird, but not impossible. Maybe she slipped by somehow. Kids get crafty. Later that day, I was on my lunch break near the kiddie rides. I glanced up and saw her again standing near the fence of the old teacup ride, staring blankly at the spinning cups. Still alone, still silent. I got up to approach, but before I could reach her, she turned and walked behind a row of vendor stalls. I followed. Took less than 30 seconds to round the corner. She was gone. There was no exit on that side. Just a fenced maintenance path and closed stalls. I asked around. No one saw her. Back at the front gate, I talked to Marty, the shift supervisor. He looked annoyed at first, until I mentioned the girl's appearance. He frowned. Braids, white dress, about yay tall. I nodded. He exhaled. She's been spotted before. Every couple of years, different staff, same description. That froze me. You serious? Yeah, he said. No one ever sees her come in or leave. And no one's ever spoken to her. She just wanders. He leaned in. One guy swore she vanished while he was looking straight at her. After that, I started keeping a log. Every time someone reported her or when I spotted her myself, I wrote it down. August 3rd, seen near Carousel. No accompanying adult. August 9th, a guest asked if the park hired child actors for ghost-themed promos. August 14th, she was spotted inside the closed bumper cars building. Security camera glitch at same time. The oddest part, she always walked the same direction. From the entrance toward the far end of the park, where the old wooden ride, the hollow flyer, used to be. It was dismantled years before, after an accident. No one ever talked about it openly, but the area was still fenced off. Then one day, I saw her again, closer than ever. It was evening, near closing. The last guests were filtering out, and I was helping direct people toward the exits. That's when I saw her standing by the locked gate of the hollow flyer's ruins. She was facing the gate, still motionless. I approached slowly. "Hey," I said, gently. "You can't be here. This area's off limits." No response. She lifted one hand and placed it against the gate. "Are you lost?" I tried again. Her hand stayed on the gate, fingers splayed. I stepped beside her, following her gaze. Beyond the gate, all I saw were broken planks, old supports, weeds growing over the concrete. Then I heard it, the sound of a roller coaster. Not nearby, faint, distant, but unmistakable, the rattle of tracks, the whoosh of descent, the brief screams. But there was no ride operating back there. Nothing. I turned to the girl. She was gone. That night, I stayed behind. Got permission to review old footage with one of the techs. We pulled security archives from earlier that summer. On July 10th, someone spotted her near the food court. The camera caught something strange. As she walked past a lamppost, the lights flickered. When she passed the bench, the camera glitched horizontal bands of static. More footage showed her moving unnaturally. Not jerky or robotic, but too smooth. Almost like time was warped around her. I didn't sleep that night, The next day, I went to the records office and asked an older staff member, Helen, about the hollow flyer. She looked surprised, but not annoyed. That ride, ... Yeah. Shut down after 95. What happened? She hesitated. A girl fell out or vanished. Depends who you ask. Vanished. Helen nodded. Car came back empty. Operator swore she was buckled in. No one found anything. Not even a shoe. I showed her the sketch I'd made of the girl. Helen went pale. That's her. She didn't ask how I knew. I worked one more summer at Redfield after that, but I never saw the girl again. Not in person. Though some nights, when the park was nearly empty, I'd hear distant coaster sounds from beyond the fence. Faint. Wrong. Like something still riding. Looping endlessly on tracks that no longer existed. And sometimes, just sometimes, I find tiny, barefoot prints in the dust near the gate. Leading nowhere. There's a corner of Briar Glen Amusement Park that no one talks about much. It's where the big rides used to be, the older ones, the ones they quietly shut down. I didn't think much of it until my last summer working there. I was just a ride assistant then, part of the rotating crew that helped load guests, checked restraints, and did crowd control. There was one ride at the far edge called the Cosma Dancer. A strange, spiraling contraption built sometime in the 80s, full of glowing lights and spinning platforms. But by the time I started at Briar Glen, it had already been shut down. The gates were padlocked, the signage faded, and the area partially fenced off. It was slated for demolition, or so they said. One morning, around mid-July, I was doing my opening rounds, checking padlocks, inspecting ride panels. That's when I heard something odd, a mechanical hum, faint and distant, like motors spinning up. I followed the sound. It was coming from the Cosmo Dancer. I thought maybe someone left a power box on, or a nearby maintenance worker was testing something. But when I got closer, the entire ride was still. Lights off, cables disconnected. The platform looked warped from years of weather. Still, the sound continued low, rhythmic. I checked my radio, thinking I'd report it, but it buzzed with static. That sometimes happened at the far edge of the park. I shrugged it off and finished my rounds. Later that week, I was working crowd flow at the bumper cars when a man in his 30s approached me. He looked sunburned, sweating, clearly flustered. "Hey," he said, "I need to talk to someone about a ride issue." I asked what happened. That ... that spinning one. The Cosma Dancer, is it back open? I blinked. No, hasn't run in years. He paled, but I just rode it. He explained he'd been walking alone, trying to find a quiet spot while his kids rode the tilt-a-whirl. He said he saw the Cosma Dancer lit up, glowing blue and white, spinning slowly. He said he heard the music, the same synth track from when he visited as a kid. He swore the ride operator wore a shiny silver uniform and didn't say a word, just waved him on. I thought it was a retro event, he said. Nostalgia thing, so I got on. He described the ride perfectly, its layout, the mirrored ceiling, the voice-over narration from the 80s. Only problem was, the ride didn't work. The control systems had been gutted years ago. I brought him to the manager. They walked him to first aid, probably thinking he was dehydrated or confused. But I looked into it. I checked the ride panel myself later that day. Still untouched. Cobwebs in the corners, but the scent of ozone lingered in the air, like something had powered up. Over the next few weeks, more reports came in. Guests seeing the Cosmo announcer lit up briefly. Lights flickering. A hum in the distance. Always fleeting. Always just enough to doubt yourself. Then came the girl. She showed up at guest services. Around 12 years old, shaken. Said she'd lost her older brother. They asked for his name. She hesitated. Said his name was Sam, but wouldn't give a last name. When pressed, she whispered he got on the spinning ride, the one with the stars. But he never got off. We searched the park. No one matching that name or age group had entered that day. I found the incident report 2 days later, buried, marked as resolved. But something didn't sit right. On a slow day, I snuck past the fencing with a flashlight, climbed the rusted steps of the Cosmo Dancer platform. The ride was silent, but the seat belts were buckled tightly, as if someone had been sitting there recently. The following weekend, a storm hit, power outage across the park. I was helping reset breakers when the lights on my panel flickered. A ride identifier came online briefly. Cosmo answer, operational. It vanished 5 seconds later. I rushed outside. The ride was dark again, but the air crackled. The scent of ozone was stronger than ever. The manager told us not to talk about it, not to mention guest sightings, not to investigate further. They fenced it off tighter, posted warning signs. Eventually, they stopped assigning anyone to that quadrant at all. But every so often, we'd hear the music, just faintly, like something calling back. My last day at Briar Glen, I took one final walk by the Cosmo Dancer. The wind had knocked down part of the fence. The platform lights blinked once, blue and white. Then silence. And behind me, I swear, I heard a voice say, just above a whisper, "Your turn."